Hey there folks, this is Paul, sitting in the car talking about A Course in Miracles. I thought I'd do a little video about body identification. Believing that you are a body. This is a pretty huge part of A Course in Miracles because it entails the cause of sickness, it entails the reason for death, the mental illness. Pretty much all the things that could go wrong are very much related to believing that you are a body and trying to get to a place where you recognize and remember that you're not a body and that you don't have a body and you don't need a body and you just are as God created you. I am as God created me. I am not a body. I am free. To be without a body is to be in your natural state in heaven. So what is body identification? First of all, you got to understand that there are two levels. You've got the level of mind, and then below, or as the effect of, the level of the body. You as the mind, as spirit, who doesn't need a body, are self-contained and whole within yourself as God created you, lacking nothing, needing nothing, no body involved. But then in the separation idea in your mind, by believing in separation, you put a division in the mind to split the mind. And this separation is like a wall that materializes as a body. So let's say that you are big and you're everywhere, and then you put a divide in the middle of this everywhere, and you try to create a gap between you and your brothers, between you and God and yourself. This gap takes on the form of a body as a separation device. Now, that means if your mind recognizes and remembers and knows that it is one with Spirit and is identified with Christ as God created you, it doesn't believe that it is a separate thing. It doesn't believe that it's a body. It doesn't believe that it's divided or cut off or disconnected. And so it doesn't picture itself as limited things, bodies, walls, divisions. It doesn't present itself as those things. And that results in what you would at this level think of as being invisible, because with no forms and no walls and no divisions in that mind, there is no body, there is no physical blockage, there's no limitation. The mind doesn't see itself as a body, and the result of that is that no body shows up. There is no body. When the mind becomes confused and gets into level confusion, separation beliefs, it creates this split mind, and the split mind takes on the form, various forms of separation. The form ends up being a body. And the body now is a separation device. As Jesus says, the body is clearly a device for separation and therefore does not exist. So that means that the mind is now believing that it is a body, or it's picturing itself as though its sense of identity is that I'm a separate thing. I'm a cut-off thing. I'm a finite thing, something that's limited, something that's confined in space and time, something imprisoning, that sense of this is what I am, this is true of me, this is who I am, causes the mind to make a body. And the mind is now projecting a dream with a body in it because it's a split mind. So now it's not just that there was a body and I just decided to come along and use a body. That body did not exist before the separation. There were no bodies before the separation. So when the separation occurs in the mind literally makes bodies. So we make these bodies only by believing in separation. When you don't believe in separation, you don't make bodies. So a mind that has become clear and empty of illusions, the body cannot stay without illusions, says Jesus. When the mind as a container no longer has divisions and separations in it, and it doesn't believe in them, doesn't see itself as I am a finite separate thing, a small little thing, it simply does not make a body. And that means that the body at this level, to people who look at bodies, disappears, vanishes, ceases to exist on this level. Jesus says, my body disappeared because I had no more illusions about it. And he recognized its nothingness. And by recognizing that it is nothing, it literally became nothing. Zero, nobody, completely vanished, literally disappeared before your eyes. This is not a metaphor, it is literal. The body vanishes. There's a number of statements that talk about the body disappearing. And so as the mind is finally set free of all of its beliefs in separation and bodies and things, limitations, and it transcends space and time, the body is no longer being maintained by that mind, and therefore that body now, the mind that makes the body is no longer choosing to try to be a body. It doesn't think I'm a body, and so it doesn't generate a body. The body just switches off, it disappears, it never existed, and it ceases. So that's spirit identification, where you are finally recognizing I am not a body, I am free, I am spirit, I am 100% as God created me, and I am nothing else. Jesus says somewhere that what's the point in, why would you have a reason to want to keep the body after you realize this? You recognize and you associate your sense of this is true of me, this is who I am, this is what I am, with spirit, with your immortality beyond space and time, and that causes you to stop causing bodies. And that makes your body that you had literally disappear from existence. So the opposite of being identified with spirit is being confused about who you are, believing that you are something you're not, denying yourself, pretending that you can be something other than you are, pretending that you're not spirit, and trying to be or to picture yourself as and believe in this is what I am, this is what I'm made of, this is how I function, as something limited and small and cut off and separated. And that's what the body is. It's a symbol of the ego's separation. It's a separation device. It only shows up when the mind is split. It only can materialize when the mind is believing in it. So you've got these kind of two levels where in the truth, you are spirit and you have mind. Illusions, the body is a dream. At this level, all of these body illusions are illusions. And so there's these two levels. You've got reality, heaven, spirit, who you really are, and bodies, world, illusions, pretending to be something you're not. If you are completely clear about who you really are, you do not associate with, identify with, confuse yourself with, merge with, use, have, or think that you are any kind of illusion. I am not an illusion, but a reality. You will have no need or purpose or choosing to maintain or have a body for any reason, not even to be a teacher of God. You're going beyond that level to, I am pure spirit, I'm in a state of grace forever, and I don't need a body ever again. I've overcome incarnation and reincarnation. I never again need a body. I'm spirit. But if you're confused and you have level confusion, which means you have an authority problem, it means that you think that you sinned and that you caused God and God's been affected and now you're guilty, blah, blah, blah. Once you're getting into that, you're starting to merge the levels. You're starting to combine or confuse with and mix together these two levels, whereby instead of realizing my mind is making these illusory bodies, it slips into my mind is these bodies. My sense of self, that is spirit and mind, starts to become confused with the illusions, and you start believing, I am this body, I have a body, I'm being a body, I do body things, I'm in a body, because you're attached to it, and you've started to lose sight of the clarity of this distinction between what is real and what is not real, what is real and what's illusion. And so by believing that you are a body, you're very confused about who you are and what you are, and that has ramifications. Got to go kind of quickly here because I need to get back, but the problem is this, that the body is just a neutral illusion. It is nothing. And in its normal state, where the mind is not attacking and the mind is not confused, and maybe you're slightly believing in bodies because you're still having one, but very healed, very close to reality, the mind is very loving and it's very healing, and it doesn't attack the body, and it doesn't use the body for trying to bring about solutions to made up problems and needs that you don't really have, and what Jesus describes as plans that you make where you keep trying to get the body to do things it's not supposed to do, or you try to make it be something that it's not. To make it responsible for things that it's not responsible for, to assign to it all the properties of spirit by trying to suggest, well, the body can cause things, and the body can make things happen, and the body has its own life, and the body is having a sickness, or the body thinks for itself, or whatever. These properties of mind and spirit become confused with the body, and you start believing that the body is the mind, and that you don't have a mind. But this is level confusion. You're confusing mind and spirit and who you are with body, physical forms, illusions. And pain particularly is designed to bind you to the body. Any belief that you're sick is designed to bind you closer to the body, especially in death, to try to say, If I can just attach the Son of God to a body and make the body suffer and die, I must be also killing the Son of God, because he obviously is the body. And so now you believe that you're succeeding in proving that you can be hurt and that you can be damaged and you can be sick and you can suffer and die by being confused about who and what you are and pretending to the world that I am something that's suffering and dying. I am mortal, I am physical, I am made of materials and biology, I have eyes and brain and stuff. And it's not true, because that's not who you are. It's just a cover over your spirit self that has nothing to do with bodies. Now the thing is, if it wasn't for you being attacking in your mind, if your mind was holy and healed, the body would be healed. It wouldn't have, you wouldn't be using it for attacking purposes, and therefore you would not attack it, and it wouldn't become a picture of crucifixion or sickness. Jesus talks about how if you do that, the body will become healed and whole and healthy and able to do anything, cannot be sick and cannot die. If the mind is using it only for love and healing and extending mind, being a teacher of God, then the body is healed. A sane mind heals the body. But the problem we have is that the mind is not sane. We've all become nut jobs, and now the mind, which is distinct from the body, because the body's nothing, it's an illusion, the mind, if the mind is in conflict and the mind is having a war with itself and it's having attack thoughts and it's angry and it's upset and unhappy and guilty and afraid, the mind is having this big kind of drama of self-attack and self-harm and feeling bad about yourself and believing that you're something you're not, believing that you're guilty and unworthy and unlovable and so on, all these forms of self-denial. And that's all taking place in the mind, and it's mental illness and it's sickness. All sickness is mental illness. But because you're also projecting a body, and the body has no mind, no will, no causality, it doesn't make anything happen, it doesn't choose anything, it doesn't get sick on its own. The mind makes this decision as it makes every decision responsible for the condition of the body. If the mind is having a big spaz in the proximity of the body, it will confuse itself with the body, and now it starts to see its own sickness as if it is in the body. Jesus talks about how you confuse the mind and the body, and you perceive that the mind's shit is actually overlaid on, projected on, and fused with the body, as if what you're seeing, you think you're seeing it in the body. You think the body has a sickness, my leg is broken, my arm has a disease, my eyesight is poor, whatever. You think the body has this stuff because you've confused mind and body, and you think they've become one thing. So now as you perceive, oh, I can see that that person has a paralysis, I can see that this person is lost their hair, I can see that this person over here has a broken leg, whatever. You think that you're seeing stuff that is in the body as if it's only body stuff, and what you're really doing is it's your mind, you're taking a sick mind and merging it with the body, and the sick mind is filled with power and forces and causality. And so this sick mind is like having these force fields that are twisting the mind and skewing things and distorting things. And you take that and you join it with the body, by level confusion, believing you're the body, and now the body is forced and twisted and distorted and mangled and made to be unnatural, made to be attacked, and you sort of play out the mind's war in and through the body, and now the body is forced against its will, because it has no will, like an innocent victim. The body is forced by the mind to try to be what the mind is trying to be. And so the sick mind is now forcing the body to be sick in ways that you normally recognize sickness, physical sickness. And it's not that the body is sick. As Jesus says in the Course, the body is not sick. It does not need healing. And that's an important point, because you can become very distracted with the idea that I see a physical sickness, it must be real. The body has a problem. That is temptation, and it's illusion, and it's buying into the ego. The body is not sick. It doesn't have its own anything. It's nothing. The body doesn't do anything, doesn't cause anything, it doesn't get sick. It doesn't think about sickness. It doesn't make anything happen. It's all because the body is just this neutral image, which, if you weren't attacking it, would be perfectly healthy. The mind comes along and having this freaking raging spaz and forces the body into states that make it seem sick. Sickness is anger taken out upon the body by the mind. And so the body only becomes sick because the mind is sick. And if it wasn't for the mind being sick, the body would not be sick. A sane mind heals the body and reverses all of the distortions, what Jesus calls the strange distortions that were manifest, takes away the strange distortions, and miracles happen, and it reverses the distortions in the body and allows the body to just be its sort of prime ideal condition. So the mind decides the condition of the body, and so the body returns to health, physically healthy, free from pain, free from diseases, free from the form and the physical form of diseases and damage. They are undone, healed, reversed. So the body becomes a picture of health and not a picture of crucifixion. And it's only because of what's happening in the mind. If the mind is sick, Jesus talks about how only perception can be sick, but a sick perception attacks the body. A sick perception becomes level confused and combined with the body, and you start to see the mind's stuff, the mind's hallucinations, delusions, sick thinking, fearful projective thoughts in the body as if they're actually part of the body, and not distinguishing that they're not really in the body, they're in the mind. The mind is putting it there. And if the mind would just stop attacking the body would just return to health and be completely free of sickness. What you use the body for, it becomes to you. If you use it for attack, the body is attacked. And being attacked, it is weak and frail and sick, and it suffers and dies because the mind is attacking it. The mind is the only cause of death. If you use the body to bring the word of God to those who have it not, using it for love and healing and truth, expressing Christ through the body, Christ's light envelops the body and heals the body and restores it to perfect health, a lovely picture, free from pain, free from any proof of attack, free from any signs and symbols of damage or mortality. It becomes a symbol of eternal life to those grown sick of the fetid stench of death, And the mind now makes it possible that the body cannot be sick and cannot die, because the mind is sustaining it with life all the time. Perfect life, immortality, power, livingness, resurrection. Resurrection brings the body back to life from the state of death that the mind was putting the body in to begin with. Nobody dies without their own consent, because the mind chooses. You cannot die unless you choose to do so with the mind. If the mind chooses not to die or believe in death, it doesn't make the body die. Death does not happen. It doesn't happen to you. You're not at the effect of the world. The only cause of death is mental illness. It is in the mind choosing to make death happen. Sickness is an attempt to prove you can be hurt. So if you're trying to become sick and you're deliberately making yourself sick, physically sick, and you make death, you've tried to prove that you can be hurt. You're trying to picture yourself as something so damaged that it's dead. And you're trying to say, here's my death. I am a body. I've died. Son of God is dead. That's what death is about. It's trying to kill the Son of God. Has no effect on the Son of God because he's still spirit, and he's just been a bit confused about who and what he is, and he's tried to kill off the body, but has had no real effect on anything real. There is no death. The Son of God is free. So Jesus talks about how you have to learn to view the body as separate from you. Not like as in an ego separation, but in really a clarity that you're not the body. You don't believe that you're a body. You don't identify with the body. You don't picture yourself as the body. You don't regard yourself as the things that are going on with the body. You step back from the body and make some kind of a gap between you and the body, between your mind and the body, so that you don't believe as an immortal mind that you can be attacked, hurt, damaged, or whatever, because you don't do it to yourself. And that by doing so, the body will be healed. By stepping back and not disassociating, but becoming clearly aware that you're not really a body, the body is nothing, there is no body, your mind becomes so healed that it shines healing through the body and resurrects the body with miracles, because expressions of love are miraculous and they raise the dead. Miracles fall like drops of healing rain. All around the signs of life spring up. The body comes back to life. The body heals. It doesn't really have sickness. It doesn't really need healing. It's just an effect of, or a mirror of, your mind's condition. And he talks about how when you can do that and you can really become clear about your identity, this is what I am spirit, I am as God created me, I am not a body, I'm immortal, I cannot be affected. All these truths about you, when you can accept atonement, when you can get to these truths, and it changes your identity and your awareness, and you become aware of your spiritual self, which is permanently immortal. You no longer believe in being anything else. And so you know and you recognize you're not a body. It's impossible for you to be a body, because the body is an illusion. Illusions recognized must disappear. The body must disappear when it is recognized. Jesus talked about, my body disappeared because I had no more illusions about it. It disappeared, vanished, all the atoms vanished, stopped existing. dream of death is not left by death, but by truth. When you get to truth, the body disappears. That's how you leave. You don't leave behind a stinking corpse for other people to have to sniff. You don't lay the body aside by dumping it on the ground as a demonstration of attack and death. You only leave gracefully through truth and light by vanishing the body in the blazing glory of the great rays of the Son of God, and then you in heaven and nobody sees you. Because your sense of self becomes free of forms and limitations and walls and separate structures, and doesn't picture itself as any of these tangible things, so it now is empty of bodies, and that means it does not maintain a body, doesn't have a body. The body disappears in the mind. So the body is in the mind. You maintain the world in your mind with your thoughts. So, healthy mind, healthy body. Really super healthy mind, no body. Sick mind, sick body. Mind trying to kill itself, dead body. So body identification is this confusion of I'm really a spirit, but I'm trying to believe that I'm not that. I'm denying it, and I'm trying to bind myself and join with and see myself as one with an illusory form, a body, and to believe this is what I am, this is what I'm made of, these are me, these are my fingers. And to see yourself that way is sickness. It is unnatural. And it's the mind being sick because it's really confused about the levels, it's confused about who it is and who's the cause of what, and it thinks now that because it, as causal, is joined with the body, it now thinks the body's causal, and now the belief that the body causes a higher level is a belief in magic, and it's the cause of sickness. All forms of sickness are the result of level confusion. So believing that you are a body forces you to believe that the body causes its own things, because actually your mind is causing it in and through the body. And now you think that the rest of your mind is at the effect of this lower thing. Your real self is at the effect of your body-aligned self that is now causing you. And that means now you're going to start materializing effects, symptoms, signs of weakness and sickness and death in the body to represent your belief that they exist, and your belief that that's what you are. That you are at the effect of the body, and the body's causing you. It's become sick on its own. It's dying on its own against your will. And it's not against your will, it's entirely chosen because of your confusion that I am the body and I'm making it sick, but I'm trying not to, but I'm still doing it anyway. The solution is stop believing that your mind is the body. Stop believing that your mind is one with the body, that the things that you perceive as being there, being out there, your belief in them is not in the body, it's in the mind. Your mind is the only thing that needs to be healed. All of the appearances of somebody is sick and they look like they've got cancer, and they look like they've had a stroke, and they look like they have a deformity or whatever, those are illusions. They are not the truth, because the body is acting as a barrier to perception, nothing so blinding as perception of form, causing you not to see the real cause of the body's condition. And so you think now, oh look, the body itself is sick, the body itself is damaged, it needs some help, I need to heal that body. what you need to realize is you're not seeing the cause of the body's sickness. The mind is attacking the body and making it sick. The person's mind needs healing. The person's mind needs some love. They need to shine into their mind with your mind and fill it with love and light so that their mind stops hurting itself and then stops projecting it on the body, and then their body will also heal to line up with the love and light that's coming through the mind. So it seems indirect, but it's direct because the mind is the cause of the body's condition. So you have to overlook and forgive and undo and not believe in the physical appearance of people's sickness because their body is not really the problem. The problem is in their mind. They have mental illness and their mind is attacking itself and taking it out on the body. It's having side effects. It's like the body is near to a person that's raging and attacking, and they're getting some shrapnel and there's some damage here and there, and so the body's getting effects from this causing mind that's having a rage near to it and is attacking the body. If you believe that somebody else's problem is their body, you believe that their mind is their body. Therefore, you believe that they are their body, and therefore you must believe that's true of you too, that you are a body and you have body identification, and your belief that their sickness is real is a belief that you are sick. Golden rule, whatever's true of you is true of them. So for your own benefit and theirs, you have to forgive this or undo this belief that they are their sick body, because they're not their sick body. Their mind has nothing to do with bodies. Bodies don't exist. You're not seeing the person's mind. You have been deceived by perception of forms of sickness and disease, and you're not looking past it to recognize that person's mind needs healing, and not being deceived and deluded by the body appearance, ignoring the body appearance as though it's nothing and it doesn't mean anything. There is no real sickness, but the body is not sick and it does not need healing, but the mind that believes that it is a body is sick indeed. And this is kind of difficult to get past because it's very, very convincing to see someone who looks like they have a sickness, looks like the damaged, having a problem, upset physically. You instantly believe it through your own ego and now have made it real. And now you're convinced that it's happening. Sin is happening. It's having real effects. The person's body needs help. And now you need help because now you're going to be scared and suffering and guilty and reacting and trying to save them and fix them because of your belief that the sickness is real in their body. So your sense of body identification of your own shows up as reflected in your belief in whether or not other people are identified with their bodies. If you believe that they are their bodily sickness, that brings you down. So to lift both of you up, you've got to get past those illusions and get to I am not a body, I am free. They are not a body, they are free. They don't really have a body problem, but they might have a mental problem. Their mind probably needs healing if I'm seeing body problems. A broken body is proof the mind has not been healed. A sane mind heals the body. Therefore, if the body is not healthy, the mind must not be healthy. So now if you believe that the person has a real physical problem and it's dangerous, you're now making it real, and now you need healing because you're believing illusions are real and you're not really being a miracle worker anymore. Now you are an unhealed healer who is trying to fix a problem that you're making and believing in and reinforcing and causing and projecting onto the person to make them sick or to try to project your sickness because you're the one with the problem. So you got to get yourself healed. Your responsibility is to accept atonement for yourself so that you become part of the atonement plan and become able and willing to do miracles for others to help them to heal. Not necessarily by going straight to the body, I'm going to heal your body, but rather I'm going to heal your mind, and you will be permanently healed and no longer cause your own suffering. And therefore heal your body. Your body's going to get healed too as a result, because it is only ever a symbol, a reflection, a mirror of the mind's attitude. So it's all about mind healing, mind to mind joining. Joined minds are miraculous. Joining of minds, undoing separation between you and your brother, being one with your brother in mental levels, heals the separation and undoes sickness of the mind, and then the body responds. So you are not a body. Being a body is beneath you. And so you got to look at all the ways, how am I believing that I'm a body? How am I convinced that my mind's content and my beliefs and my projections and my attacks and my fears are because of the body or caused by the body? I'm at the effect of the body. That's all evidence of level confusion. How can I get to recognizing and believing that I'm not the body, I'm just using it as a temporary illusion, and it's not myself, it's not happening to me, and I'm free of it, and I don't need a body. To step back from, I'm a body and I wear clothes and I need to look good, to I am a mortal spirit, I am a ball of light, and I am just visiting this universe. The whole point of I am not a body, I am free, is not to get to the point where you're saying, I still have a body, but it's not who I am. The whole point of it is, I am not a body. I am free of bodies. I don't have bodies. I don't need bodies. I've never really had bodies. I don't exist in a place where bodies exist. I'm in heaven with God where there are no bodies. And the body doesn't even play a part at all in my existence. I don't have one. Jesus doesn't have a body. To be free from incarnation forever, overcoming of death, or overcoming the need or the desire to want to limit yourself to space-time, to isolate yourself to a single location when you should be everywhere. To be without a body is to be in your natural state. That's the goal, to go home. Not there's an in-between part where you're a teacher of God and you're still having a body, but you're mostly healed and mostly awake and using the body for the Holy Spirit's purposes of healing and communication. But that is only a stop along the way. It's not the goal. It's not the end. Beyond that is the kingdom of God, and the body cannot go there. Jesus says, leave it behind. It cannot enter heaven. You are immortal spirit. You are only as God created you. God did not create the body. Therefore, you are not a body. I'm going to stop there, and hopefully that's been sort of fairly comprehensive. I don't know if it is. There's probably more that could be said, but you're not a body. You are spirit. You are mind. You are unlimited. God bless, and talk to you soon. Bye. Bye-bye. See you next time.